Imagine owning a hotel where the guests cannot leave. The government pays the bill, every empty bed hurts your revenue, and one mistake can become a national scandal. That is the prison business. From the outside, it sounds simple. Build a secure facility, hire guards, sign a contract, and collect money for every inmate inside. But behind the fences and cameras, owning a prison is one of the strangest businesses on earth, because your product is not comfort, food, or technology.
Your product is captivity. That is why this industry is so controversial. Private prisons are not the whole prison system. In the United States, most incarcerated people are still held in public facilities. But the private sector still generates billions, influences policy debates, and can turn one death, escape, or viral video into a company-wide crisis. So today, we are asking something darker. What does it mean to own a business where profit depends on people staying locked up?
You do not really own justice. First, nobody simply wakes up rich and says, "I think I will open a prison tomorrow." A private prison cannot legally create prisoners. It cannot arrest people, sentence people, or decide who stays behind bars. The state still controls the legal power. The private company operates the facility under a government contract. So the real business is not justice, it is outsourcing. Governments use private operators when public prisons are overcrowded, old, expensive, or politically difficult to expand. Instead of building and staffing a new prison themselves, they pay a company with land, buildings, guards, kitchens, medical units, vans, and security systems.
The customer is not the prisoner. Here is what nobody tells you. In a prison, the person inside the building is not the customer. They are the inventory. The customer is the government. The government pays a daily rate, often called a per diem rate, for each person held. That means a prison company thinks in beds, occupancy, contracts, staffing ratios, medical costs, insurance, and lawsuits. A 1,000-bed facility at high occupancy can become a money machine. A half-empty facility can become a financial headache. The walls cost money whether the beds are full or not. Guards, cameras, utilities, kitchens, transport, healthcare, and administration do not disappear because crime falls or sentencing changes. The money looks big, but the margins have teeth.
The big numbers attract attention. The largest private corrections companies report billions in annual revenue. But revenue is not the same as easy profit. A prison is expensive every day. You need officers, supervisors, medical staff, mental health staff, kitchen teams, maintenance, transport, compliance, insurance, lawyers, training, uniforms, weapons controls, scanners, cameras, and emergency plans. Then there are the problems you cannot budget perfectly. A riot, a suicide, a medical emergency, a staff shortage, a drug smuggling investigation, a lawsuit, a failed inspection, a contract cancellation, a governor under pressure, a president signing an order, then another reversing it. This is not like owning apartments. If your apartment tenant complains, maybe you fix the plumbing. If your prisoner dies, the entire nation may ask whether your business model helped cause it. Before we go deeper, pause the video and ask yourself this. If a company can profit from confinement, should it also carry responsibility when confinement goes wrong? Comment responsibility and keep watching. The staffing trap. The biggest cost in a prison is people, and that creates the biggest temptation, cutting labor. A prison with too few trained officers becomes dangerous quickly. One missing officer can mean slower emergency response, more contraband, more assaults, more burnout, and more turnover. If pay is low, experienced staff leave. If experienced staff leave, new staff get thrown into high-risk environments before they are ready. The walls may still look secure, but the prison becomes fragile inside. This is where critics hit private prisons hardest.
They argue that when a company must satisfy government contracts and investors, the pressure to control costs can collide with safety, rehabilitation, and human dignity. Private operators respond that public prisons also suffer from violence, understaffing, outdated buildings, and poor medical care.
The immigration detention twist. Now, here is where many people get confused. Private prisons are not only about convicted criminals. A huge part of the modern private detention business is immigration detention. That matters because immigration detention can grow or shrink with politics much faster than ordinary prison populations. When enforcement expands, companies can receive new contracts, reopen idle facilities, or add beds. When policy changes, those same facilities can lose revenue. In other words, a private prison company is not just watching crime statistics. It is watching elections. It is watching border policy, court rulings, federal budgets, state contracts, executive orders, and public opinion. One speech can move investor expectations. One budget bill can create thousands of beds. One scandal can shut a facility down. So if you own a prison, you do not only manage inmates, you manage politics.
The reputation problem. Owning a prison does not make you famous like owning a yacht, a football club, or a skyscraper. It makes you radioactive. Most billionaires want status. Prison owners get suspicion. Banks may face pressure not to finance the industry. Universities may protest investments. Activists may track contracts. Journalists may investigate deaths, medical neglect, force and labor practices. Families may sue. Former detainees may testify. Shareholders may ask human rights questions. And unlike many industries, a prison cannot hide behind luxury branding. There is no glamorous version of a locked cell. No influencer tour makes a prison look aspirational. The better the marketing sounds, the colder it feels. That is why the industry sells itself with words like safety, efficiency, rehabilitation, and partnership.
Why governments still use them? If private prisons are so controversial, why do they still exist? Because governments like flexibility. When a state has overcrowding, a private facility can provide beds faster than a new public prison. When a county needs detention capacity, a contractor may already have infrastructure. When immigration detention expands, federal agencies can use existing facilities instead of building from scratch. Also, prisons are politically unpopular to build. Nobody wants one in their neighborhood. Nobody wants higher taxes for one. So outsourcing lets officials say, we solved the capacity problem, without asking voters to look too closely at the machinery behind it. The real price. So what nobody tells you about owning a prison is this. The money is not the shocking part. The shocking part is the incentive. A normal business celebrates demand. A restaurant wants more customers. An airline wants more passengers. A hotel wants more guests. But a prison wanting more occupants means more human beings losing freedom. And even if the company follows the law, passes inspections, pays staff, and runs a clean facility, the moral question never disappears. Should captivity ever be a growth industry? Because when freedom becomes a line item, society has to ask what kind of profit it is willing to tolerate. So if you had the money to buy a prison company, would you do it? Would you call it smart business? Or would you walk away because some doors should never be opened for profit? Let us know in the comments. And if this video made you think differently about money, power, and punishment, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Because in the next episode, we are entering another business that looks ordinary but becomes darker